So I wanted to share something that I found out just today. I did a little bit of work on my Mercury 115 in 9.6, the Tower of Power. What I did, I put new coils on there, all they used, but the ones I had on there, they were working, but it kind of looked a little bit sketchy. So I got 6 new or used coils from eBay. Measured the resistance. They all turned out good. Also put new ignition wires on. Put it all back on. Started up the motor. Motor was running fine. And I revved it up a few times. Raised the RPM. Went back to idle, and then really hit it a couple times. Next you know, the motor stalled. I was thinking, oh, that's odd. It's like as if you turned off the key. Try to restart it, wouldn't restart. And so I knew at this point in time something, an ignition related, something all of a sudden turned this thing off. Well, there isn't much really to it. You get basically the, I guess the stator energizes the switch boxes, and they in return energizing the coil packs. So let's say if one of the switch boxes completely goes out, all of a sudden, well, the engine's still gonna run on 3 cylinders. So here's what I found out, maybe old news, but maybe something new. This pesky little thing, it is mounted right here. Let me zoom this in to show where it is actually located. Okay, this thing sits right here. It's mounted, I would say probably in a 45-degree angle, and one cable coming out of the back of this thing, which is I believe it's just a Mercury switch, grounds to the backing plate, which is engine ground. The second terminal connects, I think this is an ignition wire. Anyhow, it connects here to this black and yellow cable, which I already removed. I cut off, put some insulation around it, and just zip tied around this harness. Okay, what this really does, if the motor goes in too much of a tilt, let's say you have the motor running and you start lifting it up and engine still runs, and you lift the motor completely out of the water, eventually when this thing's, I believe when it comes almost to 90 degrees, the switch shortens out the ignition lead and the engine stops. Well, I didn't do nothing, it just simply stopped. And what I think what happened, because I was revving the engine a couple of times, basically pretty radically, I think what happened is that mercury inside probably bounced or splashed and shortened out, or something got stuck. But who knows what's in there really. I think it's a mercury switch. Anyways, the engine would not start with it on. So the way I found out, of course, I suspected something like that happened, something shortened out or grounded out. I took a voltmeter, put it on ohm, and of course it was short between here and there, short to ground. Even if I moved it around, it wouldn't open up anymore. So here's the fix. Take the damn thing out, leave it off. It's gonna bite you sooner or later. like it did me. I'm glad it happened here and not out on the water, because quite frankly, from what I recall now, last few times I went to test drive the boat, I did notice one time I jumped a couple of waves, and the boat of course naturally bounced around. Who knows how much the motor bounced around, but the motor stalled. And lucky for me, it started back up. I had no rhyme, no reason why the motor all of a sudden stalled. There was no indication. The RPM was high enough. It just simply stalled. So I think that's what happened too. This thing sloshes around, the mercury in there gets dislodged or something. Shouldn't, but it does. Installed the engine. Okay, yeah, leave it off. I think it's just nothing but a outdated safety mechanism. I think all those older outboard motors had it. Newer ones probably have it too. Who knows? Yes, of course, it also could help you if you flip the boat over, that the motor stalls. But I got a ripcord on my controller that's always on a lanyard on my safety vest, or at least around my wrist. If something happens, let's say I fly out of the boat flips over, I fly out of the boat, it stalls the motor no matter what. Yeah, so that was the one thing I wanted to talk about. Okay, that was that. And something else on a side note. Okay, I also had to install a new rectifier. They go bad all the time. They're cheap, 20 bucks on eBay, aftermarket. There's nothing much to it. It's just a diode-based rectifier. And what happened is, it was actually a few days ago, I was running the motor a little bit, just again make sure everything is okay, and I heard a little popping noise and smelled something burnt. Didn't really know what it was first, because the cowl was around the cover, and my tachometer stopped working. Didn't show no more RPM. Turned the engine off, removed the cowl, and found that rectifier was blown up. So I had a second one laying around, and put the second one on there from a spare engine, or parts motor, so to speak. It was okay, started charging again, but the tachometer still didn't work. So I was thinking, shit, something happened. My tachometer took a crap because the rectifier blew up. So I actually went on eBay and bought a new used tachometer, but I also ordered another rectifier, like the one I have on there right now. Well, that one came in a couple of days ago. I stuck that one on. Tachometer works again. So the message I want to spread here is, don't trust a used rectifier that you have laying around if you have problems such as your tachometer all of a sudden not working. Spend the 20 bucks, buy a new one, stick it on, before you spend $100 and some for a tachometer. Tach. What a word. Okay, anyways, yeah, that's I thought I want to share this. Probably old news. Probably most people probably know it, but for some of you, maybe you don't know. And my mistakes or my experience, I want to share it. Anyhow, so the motor is in good shape right now, and I'm ready to take it back on the water. Thank you for watching.